Nissan benchmarked the Tahoe when they were building this new Armada, and so well, this ain't gonna be a very good day for Chevy. I'll include a link to the Chevy and Murray and the Nissan and Murray's websites in the description down below. They're providing us with both of these SUVs. Let's get right into it. Powering the Nissan is a modified GTR engine. It's a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6 that goes through a 9-speed. Fuel economy is 15 around town, 18 on the highway, with power outputs being 425 horsepower and then 516 pound-feet of torque. Now, powering the Chevy is a 5.3-liter V8 that goes through a 10-speed, so one more gear. Fuel economy is 15 around town, 19 on the highway, with power outputs being 355 horsepower and then 383 pound-feet of torque. If you're able to, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Now, I picked these out because they're pretty much the same color, and you can see they really are twin vehicles when it comes to the style. It's actually kind of comical. So that means that both of them have very visible tow hooks. You've got orange accenting on the Nissan fog lights and the front end sculpted for approach. And the accenting on the Chevy is red, but you can see again the front end sculpted for approach. 275 by 60 by 20 is the tire and wheel setup on the Nissan. This does come standard with height adjustable air suspension on this PRO-4X version. 275 by 60 by 20 is the tire and wheel setup with the Tahoe Z71. Now this one doesn't have air suspension. You can get it as an option, but you're gonna have to pay more money. Now this parking lot's very tight, so it's kind of hard to give you guys a side profile on both of them, but there's kind of the side-ish of the Nissan. And then here's the same thing for the Chevrolet. With the Chevy, you've got these controls to raise and lower the third row. You can throw it down the second row, but it doesn't auto-raise. You got an outlet here. And then with the Tahoe, you have a decent amount of space behind the third row. It folds down flat. But the thing that's cool about the Tahoe is you can also get it in a longer version, the Suburban, and you can get that with the Z71, so that's nice with practicality. Now the Nissan copies everything you have with the Tahoe when it comes to the seats. You've got raising and lowering third row, just lowering second row, and then this has height adjustable air suspension, so you can raise and lower the back end. I'm wondering if they got this from Land Rover, because Land Rover has a similar situation where you can raise and lower the back end, or just a lot of luxury cars with air suspension. Anyways, outlet here in the back with the Armada, and the Armada is the same size as the Tahoe, and so you've got similar spacing, and the seats do fold down flat just like the Tahoe. They've got good packaging with it. Now the back end of the Tahoe looks really cool. We've got that black strip that connects the lights together, but just traditional taillights. They're smoked out, and you got these really aggressive exhaust tips. And looking at the Armada, you can see the similarities. Now you do have a light bar. It's a little bit different, but I mean, just look at these next to each other. They're twins. They're twins. Now on the second row of the Tahoe, tons of legroom. It's a full-size SUV. You've got a storage pocket. We've got some cup holders up top. But yeah, our own climate zone in the rear with heated seats. This one has the captain chair configuration, so we just have 2 seats here. But the third row has 3 seats, and you can very easily fit adults back there. The camera doesn't want to focus on that area. But yeah, tons of legroom, and there is good headroom there in the back. And then this does have a panoramic sunroof from this one. Now in the Nissan, I've got tons of space just like the Chevy. We've got a little storage pocket. Now the controls here in the back are light up once you turn on the car, but you've got heated seats in the back, your own climate zone, got some USB ports. This one has a bench seat. You can also get the Armada with captain chairs if you want. There's kind of like a choice. And look at this. You've got 3 seats in the third row. You've got plenty of headroom in the third row. And if we look down, you've got plenty of legroom. Again, dimensions are identical to the Tahoe pretty much. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. In the Tahoe, we've got memory seats with this model. Front 2 windows are automatic. You've got soft touch trim, and unlike Toyota, Chevy actually has pretty good build with the door panel trim in their full size. 1625 for the payload capacity. Towing capacity on this one is 8,200 pounds. This is one thing I will knock the Tahoe for. The seats, they're definitely firm. It's kind of a Chevy thing, but you do have power adjustments on the side, lumbar support, and look at all the controls here. So here's kind of a basic rundown. If it had air suspension, be on that, but this one doesn't. You do have your drive modes, drive line select as well. It's a part-time for all drive system with high, auto, and low. Tons of shortcut buttons for things like 360 camera, hill descent control, got trailer brake controls in that area, so lots of physical controls all off to the side. Blind spot monitoring with the Nissan, and unlike the Tahoe, you actually have double pane windows up front, so a little bit more insulated. All the same features. You got memory seats, the mirrors power fold in, and you've got fantastic Japanese build quality. Payload capacity is 1,444 pounds, towing capacity is 8,500 pounds. And unlike the Chevy, you do not have park bench seats in the Nissan. These are very comfortable. They're power adjustable with lumbar support. And there's a few controls in this area, but not nearly as many. Now I will say, the sound of a V8 Definitely nice. But yeah, full digital gauge cluster in the Tahoe. You've got heated steering wheel function with this. You've got paddles on the back of the steering wheel to shift the gears. You also have radio controls, a little column shifter in this to help free up space. And you know, the overall steering wheel design and everything, I think it's pretty nice looking. 360 camera system with this, good resolution with the camera. And then the infotainment system's easy enough to use. Now, something to note, a lot of stuff is built into the screen, like your climate controls, heated seats. Just has heated seats with this. But yeah, dual zone climate, we don't need that, by the way. And Chevy still does a thing where you can do just the backrest of the seat for the heated function. But yeah, I hope you like the screen because it has quite a bit. There is still a physical redundancy for part of the climate. And then we've got our phone charging pad there, some USB ports, cup holders, center console, got some more USB port action. There is a little bit of storage here on the side. Just a regular rearview mirror, and then we already mentioned, but yeah, panoramic sunroof. Now, although the startup isn't as good, I'm way more comfortable in the seat. And, ooh, yep, full digital. Nissan has gone all out with the screens. Kind of a similar setup where you've got paddle shifters on the back. You got a bunch of practical controls here on the front of the steering wheel for everything, including the adaptive cruise control. And this is kind of cool because this can control either the center screen or the infotainment system. And yeah, I've got big screen there in the center. Now, I like the 360 camera system in this a little bit more. You can even do a view where it's across the other part of the screen. But yeah, the resolution is just a little bit better than what you have with the Chevy. And then when it comes to the rest of the screen here, we'll just kind of go out of that. It's quick to respond. The UI on this is actually really good. Nissan did a great job with that part, but they still leave a ton of functions in the physical domain. So we've got, for the climate, the heated seats, heated steering wheel. This one, just like the Tahoe doesn't have cooled seats, you can get as an option. You got to go to a different package. Even the drive mode select, you've got these really cool kind of buttons for the driveline. Now, unlike the Tahoe, this is full-time four-wheel drive. It's not part-time. It does have a selectable rear locker. You got the air suspension adjustment, and then little buttons there for the transmission select. Tons of storage underneath the center console area. There's more up top. Phone charging pad. This kind of covers it up. And this definitely has more storage space up front here. This is kind of cool with the trim. Yeah, it's really nice. Again, the build quality in this is fantastic. Camera rear view mirror. No sunroof with this one though, but you can get it. Both of these as equipped are about $78,000. The Armada's a little bit more, but we're just talking a couple $100 more. Anyways, let's see how they perform. We'll drive the Tahoe first, and then we'll drive the Armada second. And the Armada is, I'll just say it, it's the only Japanese full-size that's actually competitive with the Americans. Because the Sequoia, I mean, here's the deal. Toyota has a billion different models, and the Sequoia and the Tundra are pretty much just built for the US market. They're also built in the US. And so they don't, like, they're not bad vehicles, but at the same time, they don't have the same kind of quality as you see with a lot of the other Toyota product. And again, I compared an Armada to the Sequoia, and I mean, the new Armada blows the Sequoia out of the water when it comes to build quality, driving dynamics, packaging. I mean, it is not even close. And a big part of that is with the Armada, they're doing independent suspension in the rear, just like these American SUVs, whereas the Sequoia has a solid axle in the rear now, which all the off-roader people are like, oh, they're better for off-roading. And it's like, well, with a big full-size SUV, I've taken tons of vehicles off-road. The solid axle doesn't really help out as much as you'd think. When you have a super long wheelbase, you can actually get away with independent suspension. You can actually get away with it. But also, how many people are taking any of these off-road, right? Most of these are soccer mom mobiles. So, who cares? Who cares? Now, this, with the fixed suspension, sits pretty darn high as stock. With the air suspension, you obviously have the ability to raise and lower it. Now, when it comes to ride quality, this is where I think General Motors does a great job with the full size. They, even without the air suspension is even more comfortable, but even without the air suspension, it's incredibly comfortable with the ride. It's incredibly comfortable. Go over bumps and it's just smooth. And this V8's got a lot of torque. Also, apparently has a lot of issues. I mean, that's at least what the forums say. Hopefully Chevy figures that out. I mean, they got to. They have to figure that out, or they have to just do different engines. But yeah, you got that V8 response, and you do got to keep revving it out if you want like all the power. That's the one downside about naturally aspirated engines. As much as I love them, and I absolutely love them, you got to really rev them out. Yeah, the suspension comfort in this is great. And this is pretty, even though this does, I'm like 99% sure, yeah, it's just regular windows. It's still pretty insulated in here. It's still relatively quiet. The seats, like I said, they're firm. It's like a park bench almost. It's another thing I don't understand. Like, why does Chevy not spend any R&D into like seat ergonomics? They're just like, this looks like the shape of a human, so we'll put it in a car. The seat's got to be a little bit more than just kind of person shaped. It's like this is like the seat that you would expect to be developed for like someone thinking like what is, like if you took like a stick figure of a human and then you developed a seat for it, that's kind of what this is. It's like, what are you guys thinking? I don't know. I love how these drive. And that's the thing about the American full-size SUVs is they're all of them, they're comfortable, they're pretty quiet, they got good power, tons of space. And that's the thing that Toyota doesn't understand, that Nissan, well, we'll see how much they understand in a moment. But, you know, they did a lot with that Armada to kind of mimic the American way, and I think it'll pay off long-term for them. But, yeah, this is the benchmark. I mean, General Motors still sells the most full-size SUVs because you got the Tahoe, you got the Yukon, you got the Escalade. When people think of full-size in America, they think of Chevy and then probably Ford second. Don't really think of Jeep. And maybe they will in the future, but not right now at least. So yeah, this drives really well. This is a tough one to beat. So let's go pop over into the Nissan and see if it can beat the Tahoe. You know, the V6 of course doesn't sound as exciting as the V8, but knowing that I got a modified GTR engine under the hood is kind of exciting. It's like, oh, you got an old truck engine in that, that's cool. GTR engine in this, that's also cool, in a different way. The seats are way more comfortable. I mean, it is not even close. It is not even close. I do not know what Chevy was thinking. And you know, something that I wonder with some of these car brands, do they actually, like, are these cars developed by like real people that actually sit in the cars, drive the cars that they develop? And do they use all the features too? Because that's the other thing, is Chevy has like 50 controls to the left of the driver, and I'm glad they have physical buttons, but also the ergonomics of that is not great, because you kind of have, this is like kind of a dead zone in terms of like, you kind of have to look over, right? Versus this, it pops out, it's very visible. So it's something that I usually don't think of when I review cars, but whenever I review the Chevy full-size SUVs and they have 50 controls off to the side, it's something that I always think about. It's like, the ergonomics of that are not great. Like, this just makes so much more logical sense. Again, it's as if with this car, they sat a real, like, flesh and blood human being in the vehicle, drove it around, and were like, yep, this is where we should put this button. This is where we should put this button. I'm wondering how many like of these new cars are just developed by computer programs and everything, and yeah, I don't know. So I'm interested to see the suspension difference. Like, is this going to, man, there's a lot of traffic. Is this going to drive better or worse suspension wise? Because it's really hard to beat GM with suspension comfort. And Ford actually does a really good job with the Expedition too, even though they don't have height adjustable suspension. That the Americans have just absolutely nailed it when it comes to comfort with these full-size SUVs. The tuning with the springs and the independent suspension, it's just great. It's absolutely fantastic. So, had a gap there, but then we got a scooter, so gotta wait again. Man, where are all these people? It's probably Thanksgiving shopping. Like, we gotta get our turkey time. You know what? Now again, we're obviously not comparing air suspension to air suspension. It's air suspension to standard springs, but this is nice. This is super comfortable. I've heard some people say that the Armada is kind of quote-unquote stiff with the suspension. Car reviewers are not very smart. You always have to remember that, myself included. Most Armadas, when you get into them, if they have air suspension, they're not set to auto mode. So the air suspension, it might be raised up. So what you have to do is make sure on the dash it indicates that it is it thought that the scooter was a car. Wow, on the sidewalk. Well, it's okay. Anyways, so if it's in auto mode, I mean, this thing drives like a dream because it lowers the suspension to the height that makes sense for the speed you're going. But if you don't have an auto mode, yeah, I could see how, if you have it like raised up to like one of the off-road settings, it's probably gonna feel kind of stiff. Man, this is comfortable, it's quiet. The engine is so smooth. Here's the deal, is I'm a huge I mean, you guys know, I love V8s. But this V6 is so well tuned. It is so smooth with the gear shifts, the torque is fantastic. This is one of my favorite engines of all time. I love the power delivery. Absolutely love the power delivery. It's just, and it's, you know, it doesn't have that like aggressive shove that you get with a V8, but it's got pretty quick response. It's got pretty quick response. So I'm impressed with that. We got to get to some sort of conclusion here now with the Armada. So here's the deal. They benchmarked Chevy, so of course whenever a manufacturer benchmarks another manufacturer, like, they're gonna make sure that they kind of win that battle. That's the whole thing with benchmarking, or, you know, do the best they can. I think that Nissan accomplished that in a lot of ways. The biggest downside I see with the Armada is the fact they don't have a bigger version. There's just not sales volume to support that. I think this is big enough for most people, but yeah, you're gonna have to stick with the Americans if you want the XL version, the Suburban. But other than that, I prefer how this, I think they both look great. I think this looks a little bit better personally, but I could see how people, like the Tahoe looks a little bit more aggressive in certain ways. But yeah, they both look great. The interior in this, I like how it's designed. I don't like the light up button thing in the back. I think that's kind of silly. Like, just do normal physical buttons. Don't do too much with the digital stuff. It's just overkill. This screen, I'm not a huge screen person, but this is great. I think that it looks better. The functionality is great. Again, it feels like a human actually developed this stuff and played with it and everything. Yeah, it just all makes sense. It's such a comfortable car. It's a great full size. So if you don't need an XL, at least go and drive one of these, because it is, like I said, in my opinion, the only Japanese full-size SUV that's actually competitive with the Americans. The Sequoia doesn't compete. The ergonomics are bad. The packaging's bad. It doesn't look that great. It doesn't drive that well, but this thing with the independent suspension, air suspension is standard on the PRO-4X, everything it has going for it. I mean, this is one of the best SUVs that has ever come out of any company, especially a full-size SUV. So if you don't at least go and drive one of these, you're kind of letting yourself down a little bit. You go and do it.